Hello, today we're gonna decoupage a wooden box. So firstly, I sand off any imperfection this box might have, and then I painted it twice with white paint, let it dry between each layer. Then I chose this rice paper and I cut it up with my water pen. Of course, you can use scissors as well, but I think firstly with water pen it's easier for better blending later on, and also it is much quicker. So this is why I'm using water pen for this kind of stuff. And now I am gluing it on my wooden box. So firstly, I applied some decoupage glue onto the box itself, and then I place my rice paper on, and then I glued it with more decoupage glue. And make sure you take good amount of glue. Rice paper is not as fragile as napkin, so you can use more glue. Just make sure there is no excess of the glue, because that will dry out white, not clear. And the same way I glued the inside of the box as well. So firstly I just applied a little bit of decoupage glue onto the box there itself, inside of the box. Then I place my rice paper, and then I glued it on with more decoupage glue. And after everything was glued, I let it all dry before going on to the next step, which will be, of course, painting and blending. And here we are, painting and blending. These are some of my paints I used. As you can see, I am applying some gray paint, and then with some dauber, sponge dauber, I am applying a little bit of white paint, making sure I am doing a blending on my box. And of course I did it until I was satisfied with the outcome of the whole box. And now I am doing the same thing inside of my box, and the same way, blending until I am some kind of satisfied with the colors and everything. And then I let it all dry, and of course I am using acrylic paints for this. Then with brush, white paint and water, I am applying dots on my box. Then I think applied some purple and some green as well, and I let it dry. After everything was dry, it was time for some glitter decoupage glue, and I am applying it on the whole painting part of my box, and then I let it dry. And then after it is dry, we're gonna continue working on my box, and here as well make sure there is no excess. And now I chose matte varnish and glaze. And glaze I only applied on the image of the rice paper itself because I wanted to be shiny, but I didn't want the box be shiny. I'm hoping I make myself clear. So I applied the glaze on the rice paper, and all the way around I applied matte varnish. I sealed it with matte varnish, so the box will be not as shiny because I was going for the rustic look. And the same thing I did inside the box. Also, what I wanted to ask you, if you guys do like that I am putting the material in description box below, if you like to see it, or I don't have to do it. So next step was decorating my wooden box a little bit more. So for this I'm using air drying clay, some flexible mold from Stamperia, and I am rolling out the clay inside this mold until it is so right in one of the part of the mold. Then I'm taking it out, and since I just wanted to use some of it, I decided to cut it up with my scissors. These scissors have seen better times, but really I am using them really for this kind of craft. After I cut it my air drying clay, I am applying some express glue from Pentar to it, and I am gluing it on my wooden box. And this way I did it on all 4 sides of my wooden box, and the corners I decorated with clay leaves, which I glued on my box as well, and then I let the whole thing dry. After it was dry, it was time to paint the rest of my box. So for this I am using acrylic paints as well. And firstly I painted everything in brown paint. Then I wiped off any excess of the paint on the clay part with some wet towel, and then I played around with the other colors and paints until I was kind of satisfied with the outcome. So if you like this kind of videos, please do subscribe to my channel. Please do give me a nice comment or a thumbs up. It helps me grow, and it means a lot to me, and it shows me that you maybe like my little craft, I would say, my little craft. So now I am painting the leaves with green paint, and again I took any excess with wet towel, and then I let it all dry, of course. Then after everything was dry, I applied some white dots on the wooden part of my box. I didn't want any white dots on the clay part, so this is I am covering the clay part. Then I let it dry, and after my dots were dry, it was time to seal it, and I am sealing it again with matte varnish. I also decided to make a nice lemon slice decoration, and for this I am using my lemon mold and I am applying some air drying clay inside the mold. I am taking it then out and I am putting a stick or pick through my lemon slice and I let it dry. That way I just let it dry, and then it was time to paint the rest of my wooden box. So I'm just applying see, I cannot even think what is it called in my own language, so sorry guys. I am just applying it and let it dry. Let it dry. And then it was time to paint my lemon slice, and for this I am using some acrylic paints as well. And here are some more decoration I have put on my wooden box, but since they didn't quite match the colors of my box, I am applying there some wax paste, and I also put some paint on it as well, and then I just decided to glue it. So I am gluing it on my wooden box, of course. But yeah, I measured it so it really was centered. So now I am just sealing my lemon, of course, and then I applied it on with some ribbon on my wooden box, and here it is, all finished, my decorated decoupaged wooden box. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see something else next time, let me know in the comments. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye.